What has happened? I'm not sure. Pay to win? I don't know. Where does the future of MMOs go from here? I don't know. But let's see what this man has to say. Force Gaming. I haven't watched one of his videos before. Maybe this will be interesting. Perhaps it's going to go in the way of just anime waifu MMOs. That's what we're going to be playing. Girls with cat ears. Here we go.
If you're anything like me, odds are you've been waiting quite some time now for a new MMO to come along that's totally engrossing. Something that immediately hooks you because it's fun to play, the world is immersive, there are novel elements that make the game feel new and exciting. On top of that, all your friends are playing. It's the only thing you want to talk about and the only thing you care to do with your free time, and maybe even much of your not so free time as well. You know the feeling very well, actually, because it's happened to you before. You can actually look back and point to various games in your past that conjured up this exact situation. But it's been a while, maybe too long even. And you know, that's because there are never any new MMOs coming out, right? Like we just keep playing the same games over and over again. Well, what if I told
sarcasm. Yeah, there's plenty of he's being sarcastic. There's been a lot of MMOs. Zoomers aren't really interested in MMOs. I don't think there's a target market for MMOs. Honestly, I mean, I don't think MMOs mind targeting that upper 20s to 30s to 40s age range. I mean, that's what's playing WoW right now. Let's be honest. The average age of a WoW player surely has gone up over the years. And yeah, you're right. Zoomers, they're more of the instant gratification BR type of players, right? I think MMO is a long game, and I don't think Zoomers have the patience for it. So yes, maybe it's a generational thing, but I think there are plenty of people in my generation, the generation that came before me, that are waiting for a new MMO or a good MMO to come out.
Actually over 40 new MMOs and MMO lights being developed at this very moment. You'd probably say I'm full of it, but
Samiccus,
I'm not.
Look
at this list. Every single game here is confirmed to be in development right now. Many of them even claim to be releasing in the next 1 to 2 years. On one hand, you could actually...
These are big. Amazon Lord of the Rings, Riot MMO, Blizzard Survival MMO, Sony Horizon MMO. MMOs are getting love again. And I think the reason is because of the metaverse, right? I know, we don't like it. It's a triggering term for some people. But let's be honest, what the fuck is the metaverse? It's just an MMO. It's just an MMO. So I think these companies, these big companies are seeing promise in the MMO genre, and they want to stake their claim in it before the metaverse takes over.
Say there's never been a better time to be an MMO fan. I'm fairly certain, actually, there has at least never been a time where we've had so many new MMOs in active development that we were aware of. Even excluding all of the MMO lights, there are at least 30 of the more traditionally structured MMOs on the list, and there's almost certainly some games I missed or forgot. I mean, it is nuts. But at the same time, how many of these games are most of us going to be playing for more than a week or two?
Not many.
I don't know. Probably not a lot of them. And
maybe the Riot MMO. I will play the Riot MMO. I feel like it's going to be good. I do. We'll see how, Warcraft, how Microsoft takes it over and does with it, what it does with it. I think the Riot MMO could be good. Amazon, they tried with New World. I think they kind of missed with it. We'll see what they do with Lord of the Rings.
And boy, is that...
Well, and Ashes of Creation. I mean, okay, fine. We can add that into the maybe MMO that gets played more than a week or a month.
Is something and a bit disappointing, right? Like from my perspective as a player, knowing full well many of the pitfalls most of these games will stumble into, the result of which being, yeah, I'll probably just play them for a few days, maybe a week or two, then I'll be done. It's really hard for that reason to get too excited from most of what we see here. I still follow it and I am interested in these games and I will check them out, don't get me wrong, but I would be pleasantly surprised if even 1 or 2 of these games actually deliver on that feeling and experience I know myself and probably many of you out there are looking for. And that is not me saying that these are necessarily going to be bad games. I don't think that. I don't think that playing a game for just a couple of weeks is even a bad thing. In fact, it's almost preferable in a lot of cases. We swim in a never-ending glut of games. There are more new games released every year than I even have time to play. All of this added onto the back.
I do think the amount of new games coming out now is it's definitely more. I mean, that is a fact. That's a statistical fact. You can look at the number of games coming out every month. It's far more than there were 20 years ago, that's for sure. So people don't stick to one game as much as they used to. But I still think a good MMO will grab you by the dick and pull you in, and it'll be hard to get out. I still think that remains true. Whether it'll be the only game you play exclusively, probably not. But will it be the game that you put by far and away the most time into? The game that you think about as you sit in your bed and try to get some sleep because you're excited to wake up and play again tomorrow morning? That can still happen. It just has to be good. Same a Pokemon MMO, that would be, yeah. An open world Pokemon MMO, that would be pretty cool. I'm down to try any genre. Now, me personally, my favorite MMO genre is the medieval fantasy, right? That's my favorite like timeline to play in if I had to pick one. But I'm open to other timelines. That's for sure. How many people have said that about competing MMOs versus WoW in the last 15 years? Yeah. Yeah. It has yet to be dethroned as even though people think Final Fantasy has done it. I don't think so.
Backlog of games that I'll probably never find the time to get to either, and doing gaming stuff is my full-time job. People who have other full-time jobs, it's certainly even much worse. As I've talked about before, there's just not enough time to play all of the games, even all of the good games, let alone some of the mediocre and bad ones. So yeah, not every game needs to last forever. Most games won't. It's unrealistic, and I don't even really want that from most of my games, most of the games that I play. But man, when one comes along that really sinks its hooks in, it is something else. I love it. It's one of the experiences that makes gaming as a hobby so very special, barring that experience also doesn't simultaneously destroy every other aspect of my life. Happens on occasion. I've been there. Don't worry, guys. I get you. And, you know, from MMOs, our expectation level is certainly higher than just a few days to a week, especially with how big and expansive these games are supposed to be and how long they spend in development. We go in wanting a lot more than that. But the fact of the matter is, most things won't deliver that. And even if most games could, you would only play but a fraction of them. So we are just looking for those pinnacle experiences in gaming to come along. So realistically, looking at that list that I showed you earlier, yes, I don't expect many of these games will keep me around for very long. Most of this list I will play for a few days to a week to check them out, to have my fun or not have fun, and then I'll move on. Will any of them last longer than that? I don't know. I mean, even if I had to make a prediction, here's
the thing. You know what has changed about how long an MMO has to last? They don't have to last that long anymore to make real money. Thanks to microtransactions, right? I mean, a game like World of Warcraft, when that came out, you think about the amount of dev time that went into it and everything. It had to last for a while to recoup all the money they put into it, plus become, profitable, right? Because the only thing they were making money on is you pay for the box game, and you get your sub, right? So it had to have some longevity to it. They had to have a content pipeline that would keep people coming back and resubbing, because that was their only way to make money on it. Now, you can make an exorbitant amount of money within the first year of an MMO just through microtransactions. Like in the amount of time that it would take you needed the game to be alive for 5 years to make all the money back, or make enough money back to justify doing the MMO. Now you can make it all in 1 year. And once you've made a ton of money off of it, it doesn't matter to keep it going anymore. I mean, keep it going as long as you can keep it making money. But now these companies can get more instant gratification, I guess you could say, thanks to microtransactions. Fucking ruining everything.
Very hard to tell. You really just never know what game will come along at just the right time with just the right elements to be something that you sink your teeth into. That sort of guesswork is what investors do all day professionally,
they're right to
deciding where to place their money, where to put their bets on which game will become the next Minecraft, the next Fortnite, the next Call of Duty, you name it. It ain't easy to predict this kind of thing. If it was, we'd have a whole lot more millionaires. It's even harder with indie games. Like, very few people predicted the success of, say, Valheim or Vampire Survivors ahead of time, but when they launched and people got to play and word got around, it was immediately pretty clear that there was something special there. The safest bets, like if we're playing it safe.
Is Valheim good? I see a lot of people playing it and enjoying it. I've never even touched the game.
It's always going to be some of those big budget games, the AAA games. They, at the very least, tend to have a better than average chance when it comes to many of the crowdfunded or indie MMOs on the list here. As we all know, though, AAA budget doesn't always mean AAA gameplay experience. It just sets the bar a little higher for what we can expect from the visuals, from the animation quality, from the size of the world, from the game's polish, all of those things. The bar is just a little higher, and for that reason, yes, it's got a better chance. And it's for that reason that I've got higher hopes for a lot of these unannounced MMOs from the bigger studios. We're talking
Same.
Riot Games, League of Legends based
Yes.
MMO, the MMO from the Elder Scrolls Online studio, ZeniMax Online Studios. They're making a brand new MMO. We've got
I didn't
the
know that.
Horizon themed MMO from Sony. We've got Blizzard's survival game, and then there's the laugh if you want, but yes, the Amazon Lord of the Rings MMO. Hey man, if they can take parts of New World and craft that into a Lord of the Rings setting and just make it better, I mean, again, like with most of these games, I'll definitely check.
Does the Lord of the Rings MMO mean that Amazon threw in the towel on New World? I kind of think it does. I just think they're like, yeah, we're going to try an MMO again. New World, I don't know. That's better since launch, but it's not going to be the MMO. It's just not.
It out. That said,
They will
any
die,
of these could
most
fail
likely.
miserably. Again, because AAA budget doesn't mean
It's going to be a
AAA
reskin of
user
New
and
World?
experience. It
Probably.
could be garbage, and a few of these likely will fail miserably. Don't say Amazon. Okay, fine, you can say Amazon. They deserve it. But again, I would say that I have better than average expectations from these games compared to the slew of the crowdfunded and indie MMOs that are on the list.
New
I will
World-
say
New
I
World
do
Classic,
also
yeah.
have some hopes for a lot of these MMO lights. Some of them I think are quite promising. Near the top would be doing...
Ooh, damn. Gamer. Thank you for the raid. Thank you for bringing 4 more into our Scourge. Yes, welcome in, boys and girls. We are watching a video on what the fuck happened to MMOs.
Awakening. I love
Welcome in.
Warframe enough to be very interested in what they do with Soulframe. And I also think Nightingale seems pretty darn promising. That one's very narrowly made this list of what we call an MMO. But anyways,
What is this, a double raid? It's a fucking glitch? How'd that happen? Thank you again. Thank you again. I'm going to give you a shout out. Damn, what the hell?
just about every MMO light actually that you see here.
I don't know why
am
that
interested
happened.
in playing for at least a little while. When it comes to that main list, though, of those confirmed, more what we would consider traditional MMOs, ones that kind of live up to the general infrastructure and what we think of as a classic MMORPG like World of Warcraft and everything in that vein, that main list of 30 or so games, I mean, that is a massive grab bag. It's really hard to say. I do expect a majority of them will fall into the couple of weeks tops category. That's what I would expect, with maybe a few of them breaking through beyond that. But I don't have a ton of long-term hope for most of these, unfortunately enough to say. Yes, even the online MMO fanboy poster child that is Ashes of Creation, even that, I mean, I hope it's good, but I don't know. I'm really not placing my
By
bet.
the way, I hate the cape animation. I'll say it right now. I really hate the cape animation. The way it moves when he runs,
I'm really not placing my bets as of yet.
it looks like he's got like, it's like a kite. Like he's got two rods running through it, and it's just like this stiff-ass thing. Maybe I shouldn't be talking because there's nothing more stiff than a cape in World of Warcraft. But there's something about going realistic and then some things not being realistic that like it throws me off. It just looks janky.
It's going to be like a savior of the genre. It will be probably a niche popular game for at least a few months.
We'll see how
for
good it
that
is.
Crowd.
Maybe I'll
1,
try
2,
it.
5 years down the road, is it going to maintain a sizable player base? Who knows? But who knows with most of this stuff? It is all just guesswork. But I mean, I hope they're all good. I hope every game's good. Every game on this list. Surprise me, please. All be amazing pinnacle MMO experiences. That's not going to happen, but I would love it. So, how do we get here? Like, seriously, we got a list of 40 MMOs, a good chunk of which launching in the next 1 to 2 years, and many of these.
I feel like the whole anime waifu MMO genre has blown up recently, but I honestly don't consider any of them to be real MMOs. I feel like they're all just people living out their anime fantasies. I'll be completely honest, open and honest. I don't consider any of them to be actual MMOs that I would ever play.
Games took, anywhere from 5 to 7 to, like I said, over 10 years to develop, and I'm not expecting a vast majority of them to last me more than a couple of weeks of playtime. Well, there's a lot of reasons and a lot of ways and explanations to how we got there. I'm sure you've seen the slew of YouTube video essays talking about why gaming today sucks. The videos that basically more or less boil down to, hey, things were kind of better when I was a child and had fewer responsibilities. Well, yeah, no duh. When it comes to this particular topic of gaming sucks today, I am not a full-blown doomer on this
I'm not
discussion
either.
point. I think gaming is still amazing, and in fact, in many ways, a lot better than it's ever been. The quality and the expansiveness of so many games, there's a lot of high-quality games coming on every single year, and it's a real exciting time to play and be a fan of this hobby. And as I mentioned earlier, there are way too many good games that you just don't have time to play. There are so many games that people rave about, that people are obsessed with, that people play for years and years on end, that I've barely or never touched, and likely, I know I will eventually go to the grave never touching a lot of these amazing games.
Yeah.
So we can't say that gaming sucks because it's just an expanding library, except for the ones that get shut down. That's another video, right? I would say that in general, gaming is in a really good spot. But yes, in a lot of ways, many parts of it do suck, or at the least, gaming and how we approach gaming and the games industry, it's quite different than how it was when we were weak kinders. Games in general are different.
Thank you again, Gamer,
for
the raid. I really appreciate it, man.
Sentiment, I would say that games used to feel like games developed primarily for the sake of delivering an experience to the player, which they would sell you. Yes, this was always.
I think a common misconception is that gaming is not about profit. Gaming was always about profit. The only thing is now, like I said, it's get rich quick, right? There's the get rich quick style of gaming that's been happening lately, where we put enough money into the game, it's not finished, but let's just drop it and we'll patch it later, or games being released with the intention of only lasting maybe a couple months, but just microtransactioning the shit out of their player base. Those kinds of things didn't used to exist, sure, but to say that now it's all about the money, come on. You think when they were making World of Warcraft back in fucking whenever they started that shit, 1998 or 2000, you think they weren't hoping that it was going to make money? Really? It's always been about the money. Money makes the world go round. The flat world. That's right. The flat world go round. So the only thing is, like I said, it's just more instant gratification now.
Is a business, typically there would be a single upfront cost. Maybe later they would sell expansions. So yes, you had to pay, of course, but the game still felt like it
Elden Ring didn't do that
a long time.
True, and that's why it was so popular. And I think that's why these Vampire Survivor games are also so popular. It's very much like a pay up front, and you get all the content, and the game is done. It's great, and it's a finished product. I definitely think there's still merit to that.
For much of my childhood and my adolescence, and even when I was a young adult. Many games
Unfortunately, that's the minority.
Feel a lot more like they're just vehicles for monetization, with the hope being for like the MMO and live service genres that you will stick around and keep playing and paying more over time. Now, sure, they still need to make a game that you enjoy that keeps you around playing in order to monetize you further, but monetization being at the forefront of the entire endeavor, I think has left a lot of modern games feeling that very way. Like it permeates into the design and bleeds into the user experience. And this isn't some anti-business, anti-profit rant either. People got to get paid. It's how these things get made in the first place, even back in the day. But I will say that it did feel in the past like the games were being made primarily by people who loved gaming and wanted to craft their own unique experiences for other people who love gaming to enjoy. Now, though, because the industry is so massive, it's like the biggest entertainment industry bar none, right? It feels like most of the people involved in the endeavor of making games are just here for the buck. And no, I'm not talking about the developers at all. It's well known, in fact, game dev pays far below what most of these people could make if they went into other industries. But whatever their passion is for the hobby and for the craft of making games, it does seem like it gets pushed to the wayside when the higher-ups, the ones paying the bills, chime in to what sort of systems the game needs to have, what methods they need to better than average, like the MMO and live.
Damn C-suite people ruining everything. That's what it is.
Are just here for the buck. And no, I'm not talking about the wayside when the higher-ups, the ones paying the bills, chime in to what sort of systems the game needs to have, what methods they need to employ to keep people playing. When they're hiring psychologists to develop these properly paced...
I say it every time, Cam Shady. Yes, the combat in WoW is by far and away the best. It feels the least janky. And it's so far ahead of all the other MMOs that's what keeps me coming back to. It feels good to hit something, and wow, it really is that simple.
out intermittent reward schedules to keep us on that dopamine drip, to keep us playing, to keep us swiping the card. Boy, lots of fun, yeah? The systems games need to have, the methods they use to keep us playing, and how they're going to cash in on all of that. It is a big part of the reason, and like I said, it really bleeds into the experience of the game and takes away from the game itself. It is why when something like Elden Ring comes along, it feels like a breath of fresh air for so many people. I'll just speak for myself. It felt like I was stepping back in time. I just got a game. The game was great.
And it was
finished. I played the game.
Yeah.
Damn, what year is it? What year did Elden Ring come out? 2000? Of course, there's a lot of things that made Elden Ring great. There are plenty of YouTube video essays about that very topic. All of those things combined
the phallicness of that bell hanging between those legs. I mean, every time I see this boss, I haven't played Elden Ring, but every time I see this boss, I'm like, everybody knows what this is.
YouTube video essays about that very topic. All of those things combined with the simplicity of the transaction. I give you money, you give me good game. I enjoy good game and have fun. Nice doing business with you. No cash shop, no further monetization, simple. No season pass, none of that stuff. It's just the game. The game's there. The UI isn't intrusive trying to get me to go to the shop. I'm not logging in and seeing 17 pop-ups that show me the recent activities that I can, some of which pay money for. Just
36 new skins for the new season. Get the season battle pass.
Game that I hop in and I play, and all of that combined with Elden Ring being a good game, oh man, it was definitely a big part of, at least, again, speaking personally, what made the experience of playing Elden Ring feel so refreshing against the sea of modern game design. Beyond games being different, the internet's different as well. For one, it didn't actually really exist when I first started gaming, so if I wanted news or info on the latest NES game, I had to typically get that from a magazine in most cases. Eventually, we got home internet, but gaming sites were a rare commodity.
I don't know how Game Informer made any fucking money. I feel like we all got it because of our GameStop purchases. I used to get the renewed sub from Game Informer all the time because you'd like buy something from GameStop and they'd give you like 6 months free of Game Informer. That's where I got all my gaming news back then. Man, I love those things. Probably take me back.
Usually what we were talking about were like fan pages. I made pages on Angel Fire for like Warcraft 3, or going to forums where people would just talk about the games that they enjoyed. But today, with the constant internet access, with our phones in our pockets,
data mining,
how you learn about games, how you
shit.
follow updates, how you get news, the guides, the tips, the full playthroughs on YouTube, learning about data mined information and leaks from YouTube videos, streamers who are speed rushing and beating the game in the first day for the entire world to see. The arc of first hearing about a game to when you actually sit down and play the game, it is way, way different now than it was, say, back when I was a kid and I walked down to my friend's house and he told me about this new game called EverQuest that his mom just bought him for his birthday, and then I sat down for 8 hours watching him play and enjoyed every minute. The way we consume gaming as a hobby, the way we follow gaming as a hobby is way different. It's way more tuned in and is way more oversaturated, and I think that also plays a big role to the enjoyment that we get the moment we actually get to sit down and finally play the game. But just as, if not even in many ways more important, in my opinion, is the fact that, yes, games are different, the games industry is different, yes, the presence of the internet is different, but lastly, we're different. The way that we approach games, the way we consume games, and what we expect from games today compared to when we were young. Totally
agree with this point, and it's often overlooked. I think if World of Warcraft came out today, had there been no massive, Azeroth world to go explore and everything, if just WoW, vanilla WoW, the original WoW came out today, and we had never previously played it, I don't think I would have as much fun today as I did back in 2005 when I installed the game for the first time. And that's simply because I got other shit going on in my life now. 15-year-old Sam had nothing going on. The only other thing he had to do was schedule his jerk-off sessions between the time he was online playing and when he wasn't. That was about it. Now I would never be able to get that immersed in a game because I got other shit to do, unfortunately. Yeah, such is life. Would I still enjoy the game? Of course, but would it be to the level that it was back in 05? No, just wouldn't.
Is just vastly different in most every measure. The frequency, the intensity, the speed. We're all also just better at games today than we were in the past.
I don't know how a recurring sub game would work today.
Who have racked up like decades of experience in the hobby. As we learned not too long ago.
I feel like WoW just kind of is grandfathered into the recurring sub, but I don't know how a game could come out today and have that monetization style and work. It'd be tough.
with the release of Classic WoW, World of Warcraft wasn't a terribly difficult game. It's just that at the time when we started playing in 2004, everything sucked. Our computers sucked and struggled to maintain a good frame rate, causing us to always stand in the fire. The internet sucked, causing frequent lag spikes and dropped connections. And yes, we sucked. We were just bad at playing MMOs and probably bad at playing games in general.
True.
And for today, all of that has improved. The games run better, well, for the most part, barring any bad PC ports. Internet speeds are way better, so we've got steady connections more of the time, and we also have nearly 20 more years time playing games than we did when we first booted up vanilla World of Warcraft. With time comes experience. With that experience comes a loss of novelty. As far as I'm concerned, lack of novelty is one of the primary driving factors to why so many people can say that gaming isn't fun anymore compared to when it was when they were younger. The more games you play, the more you see. The more you see, the less novel new game experiences are.
It's harder and harder to get that.
Have you ever found yourself sitting down?
It's harder and harder to get that dopamine hit because you've seen it before, you've done it before, right? It goes with everything.
And playing a game for the first time and thinking, feels like I've already played this. It's partially true because so many games borrow ideas, structure, gameplay, systems, and features from one another that many times they all start to bleed together. And when things aren't novel, it is very hard to keep you engaged and to hold your attention. We crave variety and novelty, just in general, but this also applies to our hobbies and gaming. And both of these things are massive drivers in the motivation and desire to continue to pursue something. Two, in this case, continue playing a game, to stay engaged and spend more time with it. And the fact is, the more experience you have, the more games you've played, the harder and harder it becomes for new games to surprise you. Because yes, in most cases, you have seen it all before. Even if you sit down and a brand new, one of the games on this list, a brand new MMO just launches, you sit down for the first time, you're probably going to get some serious deja vu. You're going to think, oh boy, I've already done this fetch quest. I've already spoke to this NPC. I've already gone through this training. I've already fought this boss. You haven't technically, but you may as well have because it's all so similar enough to one another to might as well be the same. And it is really with that in mind and the key importance the novelty plays into getting enjoyment out of gaming. It is because of that I try to remember some newly released game that feels super old hat to me is going to be some kid's first time with the genre, first time with a game type, first time with features and mechanics that will leave a lasting impression on that person. And I find it helpful when it comes to trying to enjoy games and trying to continue to enjoy the hobby after so many years, doubly so being that this has been my career following games and playing games for coming up on 13 years now I've had here on YouTube. I've spent a lot of time playing games. I've spent a lot of time talking about games, a lot of time covering games to try to really continue to enjoy it after all this time, even if everything isn't entirely novel. It can be tough, but I think mindset does play a big role.
We're gonna get into
As for these upcoming MMOs, the games on the list that we talked about here today, I'll obviously still hope that the developers themselves, the ones in charge of creating these games, do manage to craft something to create an engaging, immersive, and a novel enough experience that even someone as jaded old gamer as myself can be entertained with for at least some time. We can only hope. Although I still, of course, hope that every once in a while we get a game that comes along that does really craft a super unique experience that rekindles some of that flame and has us sort of go back to the first time we experienced whatever your equivalent to World of Warcraft is.
Bring back our gaming.
And I also want to say,
years.
if you were struggling with finding games that keep you engaged and games that you're interested in, and you're not wanting to go back to games that you've already played, look no further than games that other people rave about. I think that a lot of times we look on the horizon to what games that haven't been released that are upcoming, and we put a lot of hope in those, while neglecting a lot of these super popular games with huge fan bases, games that are critically acclaimed. I've never played Horizon Zero Dawn. That are cult classics. There's a lot of games out there I know for myself that I've yet to touch that people rave about, and I'm sure you're the same way too in the MMO genre and in other genres. And if you're having a hard time finding motivation and finding excitement in gaming, try checking those games out. Try checking those older games that a lot of people, you've heard people speak about over the years that you just never got around to playing. That's probably my best advice for you, but also for myself. That said, we keep our fingers crossed and we hope for the best for the new stuff on the horizon. And we'll see which games on this list deliver. That does it for me today. Thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. Take it easy.
Good video. Yeah, what's gonna, going forward, I guess, what could be that next MMO or next big genre that gives us that first time feeling again? Honestly, it could be like something like that first VR MMO that actually takes off. That could be then, but those things are still a ways out. I don't think we're even close to that.